that today too? But I'm glad I need to go to the AIDS meeting, but I'm going to the DC meeting anyway. Yeah.
This is 29. This is what is today? 20. What is today? 20.
Oh.
22.
Sorry about that. Happy anniversary. 35. I love it. I've got some work to do to catch up. Yeah. But congratulations. Thanks for coming yesterday. Yeah. Thank you. Yeah. Well, we'll do it again sometime for sure. Oh yeah. All right, boys, y'all. Dude, really into Star Wars. We're going. They turned left. I'll let it go. Hey man, you doing all right? How the baby doing? Going around. How are you feeling? Yeah. Don't look amazing. Yeah, we can schedule it. Yeah, just shoot me an email. So we don't do them in Lent. So Easter Sunday or after. After that, it can be any Sunday. Okay, it can be any Sunday after that. That's the only. So after that, it's opens up. Whatever works best for the family. Yeah. I will be on sabbatical. Yeah. I will be. I'm going on sabbatical April 13th to August 17th. So if you schedule it in that window. But
Okay.
What are you talking about? Yeah.
I gotta get you new batteries for that.
Maybe they don't, it's not exorbitantly Yeah, 125.
Right.
Well, I mean, it's
This is for her
Okay.
to put on, and it's. She wants to mute it for that. Unmute it to that.
Okay. Is there one for us to record these?
Yeah, I'm recording.
Okay. Thank you.
This is for if there's anybody speaking, so you need somebody to wander around the room. So, leave you with that.
Is there advocacy?
You'll see if I can get this done right.
But Harry was how long ago? But that was buried now. All this other stuff. That's very interesting. Yeah, I had a friend who they were, anyway, it was interesting to me based on a lot of what they were going to do based on that. I said, oh yeah, your talk helped me because she was a physician. Really happened to you, plus we're pediatricians. Yeah, she is. Everything was out there. So I said, no, this is just. Yeah. Thank goodness.
I did, so I'll be back.
we answered the phone going out. She says, yes, may I help you? So we didn't know who was getting the call or not. That's that way we could answer for that's your mic. It's this is mute. That's on mute. That's that. And,
Nice.
okay.
Should we turn on the computer?
Yeah, you can turn on the computer. I want you to just speak in the microphone. I'll give you the thumbs up.
And I've got this for take questions. I can
Okay.
get it. Except that he is on the recording. If that's okay.
Oh, yeah.
And then we can get your copy of the recording.
Okay.
Is it on?
Is it on? Check, check. It should be on. You're going to be the... Hi there, this is Bonnie. Perfect, perfect. I brought a clicker. I didn't know if you had a clicker. Whoever's the clicker. So I'm going to pass you my clicker, and that way I can...
Well, you do whatever you need to do for me
Okay.
here. I've got your.
If you want to click to advance the slide.
Yep.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
so then Jack will notice
I
the
will-
change,
I
and
will
he'll
see it.
he'll change it on the screen.
I'll do it online.
Oh, this doesn't have my...
Project it here.
Oh.
You gotta plug yourself in though.
Oh, I had uploaded it. I had sent it to her.
Yeah.
Is it uploaded?
If we have
uploaded.
that on
I got
another
it there.
computer
Oh.
for the stream, but
The only
for
way we
in
can
this
broadcast it.
room, we want to you want to
Okay.
use that.
Sorry, there was that. I didn't understand that. But
All you gotta do is plug yourself in somehow.
I think she's.
well, this isn't my computer.
Oh, that's
this is
not yours.
this is a computer that was here. That's why I thought it was
yeah, this
already
is Jay's.
preloaded.
Okay. Sorry.
Okay. It might
But
be preloaded.
I can put my own computer on if it's easier.
I think they did. What is it? Okay, yeah, it's got the HDMI in there, so we're for the as soon as it boots itself. Booted.
Updates are underway. How nice.
Wonderful.
Perfect.
Hey.
How nice.
Oh, there we go.
All right. What did he say it was?
Jesus loves you. With spaces, only the first word capitalized.
Oh, sorry. GPS navigation for caregivers. Oh, look,
I didn't like that.
that's a long thing. That's all they
No.
How about no
Capital
spaces?
J. Jesus, space, loves, space, you. That should be it.
No.
Unless he's changed it.
All right. Let's look at this. Make sure I'm doing it right. Oh wait. Right.
That's,
Oh, but I thought you
that's
said
the-
only the capital J.
That's, yeah, only the first word's capitalized,
All right.
according to what Jay did.
Okay.
Looks right.
Okay.
Oh.
Ta-da.
All right.
You're almost done.
All right. You might need to delete that right now.
Yeah. So,
All right.
that looks like
Oh,
it
that
right
is
there.
mine right there. Perfect.
So let's pull that up. All right.
Okay, I'm ready to go on the back end.
And we'll present and full show. So are we seeing it?
Yeah.
Okay. And
I'm
the
ready to go on the back
And the
end.
clicker's
clicker's
clicking.
working. Awesome.
I'm gonna. Good afternoon, everyone. Sure. Go ahead.
Okay. We're really glad to have Bonnie Howe here with us. She works with the Age of Central Texas. In fact, you're like head of it. Vice President for Community Engagement. And she does these presentations all the time, and I'm sure that it'll be helpful. I wish that this had been available when I was dealing with my parents.
Oh, yeah. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. That's actually one of the things that is a big mission of mine. I hear all the time when I meet people out in community, I wish I knew about this when. And every time I hear that, it's a little knife to the heart, actually, because we've been around. This is our 40th year of being in existence. So we've been doing this work, serving older adults and family caregivers for a long time. My name is Bonnie. I actually got into this work. I was a United Methodist minister serving in Cedar Park as the associate pastor at Cedar Park First United Methodist Church. I did a lot of youth ministry and a lot of family ministry, and my congregation was aging. And a lot of people needed some support. They didn't know how to access resources. They were caring for a spouse who had bladder cancer, dementia, those sorts of things, or they were adult children caring for parents, really struggling to figure out, how do I support my mom and dad in a way that feels good for them and good for me, so that we're both thriving, we're both having a good quality of life. It can be pretty challenging. Or how do I care for a person who lives in Colorado and I'm here and I can't go to Colorado, but I need to. So there was all this stuff happening, and I didn't have great answers. And so I went looking for other entities, resources, and I discovered Age of Central Texas. And so at the time, there was a program called Caregiver U, and they would offer classes in the community. And I thought, well, let's bring some of these classes to Cedar Park. The first class we taught was called Powerful Tools for Caregivers, which gave people a great background knowledge of what to do with a person in terms of communication. How do I communicate in a way that's effective? How do I communicate with all of my siblings, or my mom and my siblings, so that we are getting the best care and everybody's on board with the plan? How do I do that? How do I do caregiver self-care? Those sorts of things. Half of the people were from our congregation and half of the people were from the neighborhood. So as a pastor, I was like, yes, this is awesome. We always are trying to reach out into the community. So we kept doing that, and then fast forward, I ended up serving at another church. COVID happened. I moved to the UK and lived in Edinburgh for a few years, and then came back. And as I was coming back, I said to my husband, I think I'm supposed to be out in the world. I don't think I'm supposed to be serving in a congregation anymore. I think I'm supposed to be out in the world. And he said, well, what do you want to do? And I said, I want to go work at Age of Central Texas. So I called them up. I called the Caregiver U director, and I ended up working. I've been now 3 years working at Age of Central Texas. At the same time, I am becoming a caregiver. My father-in-law lives in Vancouver, Canada. I'm Canadian. He is 92, renal failure, heart failure, dementia. And my stepmom is alone as his caregiver. They don't have family nearby. And so we fly up there on a semi-regular basis to provide support. My mother-in-law lives in Richmond, Virginia with my sister-in-law. She has dementia and cancer. My father lives in Mexico 9 months out of the year. He's a snowbird. Untreated hearing loss, starting to show signs of cognitive change. I was telling Cheryl and Paige, I got a message from my mom last month. It was a ChatGPT link. How do you know it's a heart attack? And I was like, and my dad was showing signs of having a heart attack. ER, the whole bit. Turns out he has a very bad hernia. So all this is going on while I'm here and trying to support. So it's in my life, as I'm sure it is for many of you. So I'm right there with you all. How many of you here are caregivers? From a distance? From a distance, yeah. And it's challenging to be a caregiver from a distance and try to figure out what are the resources where my person is. Should I bring them here? That's the big question I hear a lot from caregivers. Should I bring them here? Will they listen? Yeah, all of those things. So, how can I take away the keys without being the one to take away the keys? There's good resources for that. So, while I could structure this conversation like a presentation, I'm going to flip to the slides when we need them. So, I want it to be more like a conversation. Age Essential Texas, our goal is to help caregivers and older adults thrive. Part of what I think is important in the work that we do is helping people have conversations and helping people, particularly as we're approaching aging, to think about what does it mean to age well for me. I want my mom and my dad, my family members to think, what does it mean to age well for me from their perspective? So a lot of times when I'm thinking about caregiving from a distance, my own kids live scattered to the wind. I want to make sure that I've thought about what's important to me as I age and communicate that well to my kiddos. For me, it's important that I'm in community, that I have purpose and meaning. I cannot be living in a place that doesn't have public transportation, that doesn't have access to a faith community, that doesn't have access to rec centers. I can't go live back home in my small town in Canada where I grew up because it doesn't have any of that stuff. But I know what I need, and so I need to make sure that in my later years I have access to that. My husband is so content piddling around in the garage, and he does not need any of those things. So for us to be in conversation so that we can come to some compromise and think about those things in advance and then be able to communicate that with my family so that they know, oh, if I move mom and dad my kids are moving to Minnesota in the next few months, and if they want me to come and live with them in my later years, it better have a community that has public transportation, recreation. So it's really forward-thinking planning. Because otherwise, are we going to be thriving? No. So that's how we're going to kind of have this conversation, start thinking about those kind of goals. Age Essential Texas, just snapshot, we have 4 locations where we provide services with brick and mortar locations, but we really are out and about in the community doing education, providing resources. We do classes out at faith communities, senior centers, rec centers, HOAs, people's living rooms. I've done classes in people's living rooms. So those 4 locations, AGE used to stand for, or still technically stands for, Austin Groups for the Elderly, but we go by Age Essential Texas because we are in so many different counties. Burnett County, Bell County we're serving in now, Williamson, Travis, Hayes, Bastrop, Comal County, Caldwell County, Guadalupe County, so we're just getting bigger and bigger. But where are you, your family, you said you're caregiving from a distance, where are they?
South Texas.
In South Texas, Rio Grande Valley. Anybody else caregiving from a distance? Yes, ma'am. Arizona. Guadalupe County. So we get calls actually from people all across the country looking for resources, and we have really skilled resource navigators who know about things like area agencies on aging, aging life care professionals, home care professionals, and they're able to support people even from great distances. So we have this wide variety of knowledge. So those are our locations right now. I say right now because our Central Austin location is moving in June to just a little bit more north. We'll be at Guadalupe and the 183 Frontage Road, and we're very excited about that. And these are the programs that we have. So our Thrive Social and Wellness Centers, our Adult Day Health Centers. We'll talk more about those in depth in a minute. Pathways is an umbrella term for education, caregiver support groups, resource navigation, and care planning. Health Equipment Lending Program, that's how people learn about us most often. Is that first point of contact is through our Health Equipment Lending Program. Memory Connections is an early memory loss intervention program. So if you know somebody who's experiencing some cognitive change, they're early in their process. My dad is a good example. I'm trying to get him to connect to Memory Connections. He's experiencing some cognition changes, and if we can get him connected into a community where he starts talking about it, recognizing, oh, yes, I'm having this challenge, but here's some ways I can manage it. Here's some ways I can still be really active, and I don't need to be so stressed and anxious about this cognitive change. There's support, there's resources, there's other things I can do for brain health and training. So that's the Memory Connections program. And then our Technology Learning Lab is pretty fun. We want older adults to be able to age in place. There's a lot of great technology out there that can help people do that, can help you do that. So even simple things like those nanny cams, a lot of caregivers use nanny cams from a distance to just keep an eye on their people. But how do you do that with keeping their privacy? And how do you use technology like your fall prevention on your Apple Watch? A lot of our older adults will get these watches because somebody told them, you should get the fall detection device. And then they have no idea how to use it. And when they are playing pickleball, it's calling 911. So we want to make sure. Yes, sir.
Can I share a story about that?
Absolutely.
We had that freeze, the snowmageddon here in Texas.
Mm-hmm.
My aunt was walking her dog, slipped and fell. She's in Marble Falls. Her Apple Watch went off, but the sun, she hit the back of her head on the ground, but the sun was in her eyes. Her watch is asking, did you fall?
Mm-hmm.
And if you don't respond, then it's going to call 911.
Right.
She somehow cleared it.
Oh no.
I don't know how she did, but she cleared the notification. So she had the wherewithal to get up, go to her neighbors and say, call 911, I hit my head.
Mm-hmm.
She had a brain bleed. She went to Ben White. She was in the hospital for 2 weeks. She went to Ben White. She's on blood thinner. They airlifted her. They told her it was because, the roads are too slick. Or whatever.
Yeah.
They airlifted her to shock trauma, ICU. She had no clue how serious this was.
Mm-hmm.
And, they just kept telling her, the roads are slick, so it's easier to fly. All they needed was this here.
Wow.
But she was in shock trauma for a few days, and she cleared her
She cleared her notification.
So it never
Yeah.
went to emergency contacts. Both of us are.
Mm.
After my dad
Yeah.
passed, and so we took her.
Yeah.
It also doesn't see.
Mm-hmm.
That's another
It's
layer.
another layer.
Yeah, but I mean, it was just like, you have this Apple Watch, you asked me to help you buy it, fall detection, and you cleared it.
Yeah.
And I said,
Yeah.
if you fall again, don't touch it.
Yeah.
Let it do its thing.
Yeah. It's amazing what those devices can do. My daughter has epilepsy and she has an Apple Watch, and it can tell her when she's going to, like when it suspects she's going to have a seizure.
Yeah.
The technology is pretty amazing.
Low heart rate.
Yeah. 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 What are some of the biggest challenges or obstacles that you all are experiencing? And I'm going to ask you, just tell me your name as you're doing that so we can kind of get to know each other a little bit. I'm going to reframe the question too. Matthew, picking on you because I know your name. What brought you to this gathering today?
What brought me is that both my parents and my wife's parents are independently living, but they are getting old. My dad's almost 80. And I'm foreseeing 5 years, 10 years in the future, and trying to figure out what that looks like.
Yeah.
And I don't have much experience in this, and so I'm not currently a caregiver.
You're an expectant caregiver. We call that an expectant caregiver.
So this just felt like, I kind of have been thinking about, because my parents had this huge house. They also live at Texas and Edinburgh, and I would love for them to move up here. Like, I don't know how to. I've talked to them about it. They don't really want to move up here.
Yeah.
Or they said they would, but it'd be too expensive, and so how do we kind of set ourselves up for success?
Yeah. 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 How many of you relate to what Matthew just shared? Yeah. I have some opinions or experiences about moving parents, and so that's why I think it's so important to start talking. Like, I want to know, Mom and Dad, like, what is it about this community, or what do you want these years to look like, so that you can really have a good idea of what's important to them before you make a move. A few years ago, I was with a woman who had moved from Houston up to Austin, because here's where her family is. And back in Houston, she was living in an independent living community. She had a lot of friends. She was still going to church every week. She was very involved in her church. She was really active. And once a month, her kids would drive down and spend the weekend. They would go for dinner. They would hang out. They would do a little bit, the son would do a little bit of home maintenance stuff in her apartment, fix some of the things in the apartment, because she didn't like to ask the maintenance guy in the independent living community. And, the family was a family with teenagers. And so once a month to go down to Houston felt like a lot. It was a big deal. But they had done it for like a year, and finally they said, Mom, we really think you should move. And so they moved. She agreed, okay, it'll be easier for you, we'll move. And she moved to a new independent living community. She didn't know anybody. She was displaced from her faith community. The living community didn't provide transportation on the weekends, so she couldn't get to a faith community. And if you've changed a church, it's hard. It can be really challenging to go to a new church and get involved and get connected. And she was older, and so she has to prove herself again, her skills, all of that stuff. How do I find my place to fit in? And she ended up really depressed, and she only survived another year and a half. And I hear from older adults all the time where they have experienced that. On the flip side, I have a person in a support group right now whose mom is in Colorado. She was born and raised in Colorado. She loves Colorado. It is her spirit home. And so daughter goes up there twice a year and sees mom, and has had to build a care team she lives in assisted living because she has dementia, she has Alzheimer's. And so she's really had to trust and build and been intentional, but she knows her mom is where her mom's heart is. But it's a lot of work on caregivers. So I encourage you, as you're thinking, is this a good move? Is this what's best for us? Be really intentional about those conversations with your family members. It could be wonderful. They might have friends here already. They might be ready to jump in and have an adventure, and I would be that way. Like, as long as it has those 3 things that I mentioned earlier, I'm all for it, because I love talking to people. I love meeting new people. I'm curious. But some people, they're not gonna be so quick to make that change. So that's where a support group comes in. And I know you have a great support group here for caregivers, people with Alzheimer's. Oh, pass the mic. Sorry, everyone online. Yeah, so thank you for sharing that. And I don't want you to hear me saying don't move them, but really that communication is so vital when you're doing that, because then you're going to have to be their social calendar connector. Yeah, so. Why are you here, Jorge? What brought you today? And you have to use the microphone. Jack said.
Hello. Yes, so I'm Jorge, and my dad passed away a few years ago, but my mom, she lives close by. She's still independent. She's 88, but she's doing really well, aside from the hearing issues. But aside from that, she's doing. But I know there's gonna be a time. I know at some point she's gonna need some help, aside from just fixing the cable. So I'm here just to learn what's out there, what's available.
To get prepared.
Yeah.
Can we talk about the hearing for a second? Sure. Tell me a little bit about your mom's hearing. What's happening with her hearing?
Yeah, she can't. She's been to the audiologist, and who basically says she needs a cochlear implant, and she does not. She won't get the simplest procedure. She also has some back pain. Told her you could get an epidural. It's no way. And so just the most minimal invasive procedure she will not want. So it's a struggle, that she can't really participate in conversations.
Right.
So at some points I feel like she doesn't want to, but I do think she can definitely be isolated and feel, lonely because of that.
So Jorge has brought up a couple of things that I want to touch on as we're thinking about issues that we're struggling with as caregivers. Hearing loss, we talked about this earlier. If a person has untreated hearing loss, their rate of cognitive decline is accelerated hugely. My dad has untreated hearing loss. He owns very fancy hearing aids and he will not wear them. And we see this cognitive change happening. People with untreated hearing loss are at a 66% increased risk of having dementia symptoms. They also have agency. Like my dad has free will. He has agency. He is a grown man. He gets to decide if he's going to wear hearing aids or not. So for my mom and I, particularly my mom, for us it's about how do we manage him being involved, his cognitive change, what can we expect, what does that look like, how are we going to accommodate these things that are happening. So that's something as we're preparing, recognizing, this is going to be a faster track for him because of the untreated hearing loss. Social isolation, you may have heard this. I just hate thinking about smoking in general, so it's a statistic that I have to say with a little bit of people who are socially isolated, the impact on their health in a holistic way is similar to smoking 15 cigarettes a day. When you think about that social isolation, if I can't hear or I, for some reason, am socially isolated, I'm not willing to get in my car or drive, if I'm still driving, to go to church. And that walking to and from the car is exercise. That participation, that back and forth conversation is exercising our cognition, our brain, our logic processing and reasoning. And so it's impacting our cognitive health. It impacts our emotional health because we don't have that support system. We don't have a friendly ear to talk to or share a joke with or just be in community with. And so that impacts our emotional health and well-being. So figuring out what is going to help our person stay socially connected can be really challenging. Again, it comes back to that communication, but learning to say, hey, Mom, I'm concerned. I'm worried that you might be lonely. Tell me how you're feeling about that. Instead of, you need to get out more. But really speaking from your heart using I language, I've been thinking about this for myself. I've been thinking, because this person named Bonnie came and said, I need to start thinking about what do I want my aging process to look like? What's important to me? These are some of the things that are important to me. What's important to you? What are you thinking about? Being really open and maybe sneaky about that conversation. I've been thinking about this. What are you thinking about? These people came and talked to us about getting our advance directives in place. So this is, I've been really thinking, if I had a terminal illness, I don't want to be put on any kind of invasive, heroic measures, life support. I don't want to do that. What do you think about that? would you feel about that? So opening up those conversations can be really helpful and helping people to see, oh, yeah, I am kind of lonely. On the other hand, so I keep this broad and open. My mother-in-law is Japanese, and she's a very private person, and she definitely is not going to say, I need to go to community, or I need to be doing this. And she's very content, seemingly, to just sit. And if you ask her, do you want to go here? No, I don't want to. I'm good. Again, agency. And so it's preparing our hearts in advance to be okay with some of those things. Yeah. All right. Patty, we're going to pass the microphone back to you. How did you come to be at this group? Tell us a little bit about what you're thinking about.
So I am part of this team, but also I have family lives back east. So I have a cousin who lives in outside of Boston, and is I can do, and you can put all of the suggestions in her. You really think this is what you should? And she's gonna die in the house she lived. I mean, she's but that's, you gotta let. She'll get to her own decision when to have. My brother lives in Florida, and so he had a stroke back in 2019, and he lives alone. Mm-hmm. And so my niece has the cameras there, but they're in a place where they'll know where he is, but not protecting his privacy.
Right.
So, and then they put safeguards with the neighbors. Like if you don't see the lights on, call 911, call us. But and I think too, what struck me with my own brother was that friends. My niece said, go check on him because we haven't heard from him. And they're like, oh, he's fine. And she said, what do you mean he's fine? What is fine about having him in his bathrobe in the middle of the afternoon? Like, he's not fine. But the people that you send, I think that's really was a wake-up call for all of us. And my own children my daughter's in, denial. Like, we talk about what we want to do. Mm-hmm. And so I just tell them, I just want to live, as long as there's Starbucks and a craft room and a bar, then I'm good. I just want to do that.
Building that support network with neighbors is so important. I have in the past taught a class called A Matter of Balance, and I teach people who are older adults, so this is not necessarily caregivers, these are older adults, how important it is that your neighbors have contact information for you and for your sister, your daughter, whoever your people are. And the last time I taught A Matter of Balance, this very sweet woman, she looked at me and she rolled her eyes when I said, your homework this week is to go introduce yourself to your neighbors and say, I would love to share my phone number with you, and this is my daughter's phone number, or this is my son's phone number. And she came back the next week and she said, so I did that. And I said, great. And she goes, it worked. And we all went, what happened? She fell in her garage. She had pulled into the garage. She had closed the door to the garage. She was getting her purse out of the garage or out of her car and walking into the garage, and she fell and she couldn't get up. And she was yelling, help, help, help. And the neighbor heard her. And they came over and yelled through the door, and they got the door open. And the neighbor had called her daughter because they had just got their phone number. And she goes, I was so embarrassed. And I am still so embarrassed. She goes, but it worked. And now my neighbors, they say hello to me. And they wave to me, so I think it's really impressive to think neighbors work, having these relationships are so important. Yeah. Piece about the denial from your daughter's perspective. Yeah. It's hard to be an expectant caregiver it's hard to think about our person's aging, our parents aging, and many of us here are adult children, and it's hard, and maybe we just don't want to face it, but that doesn't mean you stop talking about it, because it's going to sink in. For me, it sunk in about 8 years ago. A colleague of mine, on his first day of retirement as a pastor, his wife and son were killed in a head-on collision. And for me, that was like my wake-up call that we're all going to die at some point. And if it's not sudden, I want it to be on my terms in a sense. I want to have some control and authority and agency over it. So at some point, your daughter, your sons, your children will be like, oh yeah, I need to take this to heart. And if they never seem to take it to heart, it'll be in their brain when something happens or when it comes to the point where maybe you do need some care. Oh yeah, mom always said, I know what she wants or I know what she doesn't want. So
now to ease that, my kids are now older, right? And my son seems to be more the voice of reason, which is really shocking. But I've said both of you, anything you have to both be involved. It's not just one anymore.
Yeah.
Because you have to together, make these decisions. And so I've been a hospital chaplain, so I have done.
Oh, I love that.
Done, advanced directives and all of that, and had those conversations. And so now I'm preparing to go have them with my children. Because ours is done. But yeah.
Are you speaking at the event? They mentioned your vicar, soon to be rector, mentioned that you're doing more talks and you're doing advanced directives and stuff like that. Are you involved with that?
That's actually in our Christian ed part, but we are doing some end of life. We've got in the planning stage.
Good.
Some end of life things for this.
Good.
forum.
There's a really great website resource called Death Over Dinner, and it's easily modified to Death Over Donuts, which is talking, like getting that, like, what do I want my last years to look like? Yeah. Yes, ma'am. Oh, I think we need to pass the microphone all the way down to Paige.
I was gonna say, sometimes it ends up being different than you think. Because
Absolutely.
my father-in-law is 98 and he planned everything. But it's not at all like he would want. And it's really gut-wrenching for the family, and I do a lot of
And
his
for him.
caretaking. He's 98, but he ended up he had it all planned, what he would want, but he ended up in a skilled nursing facility because he had some strokes. And so I think the biggest challenge for us has been, his sadness and his disappointment about being where he doesn't want to be and not being able to go home.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that's been,
Heartbreaking
yeah.
for him and for the family.
And there was a lot of comfort in his planning, but still the struggle is it didn't end up that way.
And that's a fact of life.
Yeah.
Like that happens to so many of us. We think we're going to have this picture perfect last 10, 20 years, and then things happen. Yeah. But being able to say, we know this is hard. This isn't what you wanted. We're here for you. We're here in this grief with you, I think is really powerful. I think that I'm so grateful to be in a church setting to be able to say, I think what Jesus calls us to do is to be present with people. To be present in the really joyful things, but really present in the hard stuff. And that's one of the gifts of being able to be present with him and say, this is hard for you. We know this is not what you planned. How can we support you in this place, in this experience? Yeah. How can we be present with you? Yeah. Rob? Oh, microphone to you, sir.
Rob. So this is gonna sound like I'm ranting. I'm a companion device in this whole thing. This is my mother-in-law. This is her mom that I'm talking about. But I am the tech, and I don't know which story to leave out because the most recent ones. She's at a point with her memory where there's just enough space for the routine. And so she goes out to her car, and she's gonna go to El Pato down in the valley. She's in Westlaco, so she's gonna go have her breakfast. She loves it every morning. But she's going out to the car, and for some reason on this day she puts something in the back seat of the car, in the passenger back seat, right side, and that thought of opening the car door took away the memory to open the garage door. And so she doesn't drive like a, like she told me. I'm not as fast of a driver as you, so the damage was minimal, but she didn't open the garage door because the back seat door replaced that memory or that routine step, gets in the car and backs out into her garage door. That's like a sign that we're looking at, that's going to be a problem. But the most recent, and I'll pass the mic after, is that she's going through this. I can't help but picture this because I'm a jokester, but Swedish death cleaning.
Yeah.
Which is a real thing.
It is
So
a
I'm
thing.
picturing the Swedish chef from Muppet. Don't need that anymore. Don't need that anymore. Just throwing things around, right? But in all seriousness, she took out everything that had to do with Wi-Fi, which also, because her phone is on the voice over IP, her landline, she took out her home phone. And we've already tried to, not trying to take away her agency, not trying to take away her freedom. We put her phone on assistive access. I work for Apple, and she tried to put her phone on assistive access, so it's very minimal.
Right.
Very large buttons, and there's assistive access.
I need a new phone. There's something wrong with my phone.
So
I need a new
she puts
phone.
everything in the box from the modem and everything, and it's all out in the garage, ready to go somewhere. Christmas decorations, who knows? She goes down with somebody who is a dear friend, but she goes down to Mercedes to go buy a new phone. And because she thinks there's something old about her phone, or she saw some Cricket commercial or something, because she just, she stopped learning things, and that's where the decline is. I think what you were saying, the untapped, the untreated hearing loss does go into that rapid 63% decline because you stop learning. When you stop learning, you start getting that.
Yeah.
But and that's just me as a tech. But I'm gonna pass.
But
this on.
it's frustrating.
It just costs.
I can't go 6 hours to go take care of the TV.
Right.
It's
Right.
Or hey, I'm the cable guy too.
Took me
But-
4 days to
Yeah.
sort everything out, and they're going to be.
We called Spectrum. No, she called. We set up an appointment on Spectrum. Your appointment window is 10 to 11. They're going to be there. She heard 10. They weren't there by 10:13. She left and went to El Pato.
Yeah.
And so she missed the appointment. Well, anyway, they come back and they got it all set up again. And everything's just wonderful every single day and all that. And now I'm going to hush. But
That's about a third of the story, so thank you for that.
Normally you get a lot more.
Yeah.
I don't want to take over.
I'm Sherry.
Hi, Sherry. Do you want to add and share?
I do. This is not the first time she's backed into the garage door. She has a history of the TIAs and a long-standing history of memory issues. I think our two biggest concerns with her is that she is still driving, and I don't believe that she's a competent driver. And she absolutely, positively, her perception is not what our perception is, and we need to respect that.
Yeah.
So I think instead of really pushing her to move and start all over until something tragic happens, because it will, if she continues on this path, we need to focus on building a care community for her there. She has 2 people who check on her, and that's it. But she sees this whole web of all these connections and people and communities, and that is not our perception. When we ask her, okay, Mom, who? And her answer to almost everything is, well, I don't know. Well, I don't know. Well, I don't know.
They've already moved into that next stage, into John Knox. Those folks have already done that. Or they're not here with us anymore. But she thinks that they are.
Right. So her dementia is advancing, and figuring out how to communicate with her in a way that she understands fact is, she doesn't see that she has a problem.
Absolutely not.
And so, because that's part of the dementia. So dementia is an umbrella term. It's not just about memory loss, but it's about logic and reasoning and processing. So those things get impacted. Addressing practicalities like driving. St. David's here in Austin has a really great program called the Adaptive Driving Program. But I would be curious, and I would reach out. I'm going to make a note to see. She's in the Valley. You said what's Westlaco? Because a lot of times the physicians can recommend an OT evaluation, and the OT can do an evaluation and say, I'm going to take away the keys.
She cannot remember who her doctor is.
Oh,
we can't even get to, because she has another appointment coming up. It's like, okay, so, can we help with that? And what's your doctor's name? Well, I don't know.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. You're going down in March.
We're going to really hope that.
So if she can't remember, look at her prescription bottles and get the doctor's names off of there. And so, look at the prescription bottles and see what the doctor's name is. So a lot of times people will want to communicate with the doctor, but they're not on HIPAA, right? The people haven't filled out the HIPAA forms. And so we think you can't communicate with the doctor. You can communicate with the doctor. You can reach out to the doctor. You can send the doctor a letter. Mom's got an appointment in March. On your way out, you can stop in at the doctor's office and say, I'm so-and-so's daughter. I wrote you this great letter. These are the things I see happening with my mom. They can't talk to you, but you can talk to them.
Okay. Oh, good.
It's also a really great idea to document. You're talking to mom.
I've documented
Perfect.
all the stuff that she's experienced.
Patty's like, I want to jump in. Some other things about the technology stuff. I've had this circumstance come up where people have talked about technology, and it's new. So people, as they are experiencing changes in cognition, neurodegenerative diseases, and they're backing up in kind of what's their experience, all those wires and cables and stuff, why do I need those? I don't need those. I'm going to put them away. I forget what they are, and they put them away.
Because I do monitor her bank account for her. I do monitor her email and everything. Because when she was on her computer, it constantly had viruses. She was following her scams. It was.
She went to the bank and withdrew $9,000.
And they let her, and they know her.
The scammer told her to tell the bank that she was just doing home improvements, and they didn't ask what home improvement. She would have said, well, they told me to say this. They would have known she was scamming. She was meeting them at the Dairy Queen
Dairy Queen in the next town over.
Yeah.
In Edinburgh, wasn't it?
No, not even that far.
Oh, not even Edinburgh, yeah. But I mean, still, like.
Yeah.
And then when we told her, you
don't know.
Put that money back. She put 5,000 of it back and kept 4,000 in her purse. All right, well, get your purse snatched. Carry your wallet everywhere you go.
Hang it on the back of your chair. Like that.
Our technology learning lab, Gus, he has some really great tips for how to have that technology, that connections, things that you can do. You being an Apple genius, yes, he loves to have volunteers.
Awesome.
He loves to have volunteers. But trying to figure out. My parents had to sneak a hotspot into my grandma's apartment because they wanted to be able to see her on the camera, and they also wanted to just even set up a photo frame. Those photo frames that shows all the pictures. So they just snuck a hotspot into her apartment at a place where she can't see it. She doesn't know it's there, but now she's connected. Her phone works because there's a hotspot sneaking around somewhere. So it was just a simple little thing that she's not aware of. But it can be really frustrating as caregivers. And so talking about these things and sharing them out in the world can be really helpful. Hi, Patricia.
Hi. So I have two parents that I'm concerned about. My parents live in Arizona. My mom is turning 87. My dad is turning 90. They are in very good health, with the exception of some osteoarthritis. However, I see them roughly 2 to 3 times a year. I have sibs who do live there However, they are very young, not only in age, much younger than I am, but also in thought. And they see my parents every day, and they don't notice the changes that I see, and they are not in what I would call reality. Case, just kind of a case report there. My parents live in like a 4,000 square foot home ranch. It is on 1 acre. It is fully landscaped. It has a pool. It has mini golf area, and they have double garage. They want to age in place. I understand that. I could never get them to leave. They've been there for a very long time, like as long as I've been married. So, but my concern is my dad just brought my mother a brand new beefy car that she wanted at the age of like 97. And it's got all the technology and whatnot, and they've been teaching her to drive it. But I don't believe that that she should really possibly be driving this vehicle, and I worry about the pool, and I worry about some of these other things for safety. So my concern is safety, whereas my siblings think this is all great. I feel like they're not allowing my parents to really grow aged in their mind. So I love the technology advice that you gave and some of these other things, because I could monitor things from afar that way. However, I need to also know how to swing my brother and sister's minds over to reality. They're going along with all these. And my parents also have a cabin that's 2 hours north that they drive to in the summer in the mountains to get out of the heat. So they're not ready to let go.
Right.
Absolutely not.
Right.
And they're very independent, and they think they've got it all together, but I don't believe they do. And I'm leaving in 4 days to go and do kind of like a birthday welfare check on them to kind of see where do we stand at this point. And their solution, I don't know if you've ever heard this, is to get me to move in with them.
To get who to move in with them?
Me. I'm married, have children. Our children are in other states.
Is it your parents that are thinking that's the solution, or your
Yes.
sibs who think that's the solution?
I don't know what my sibs think. My parents want me to move in with them. I think that's their solution. So it's a little bit twisted, for sure. I wasn't exactly expecting all that to happen, but we're a different generation.
If you,
so here I am.
We'll miss you.
if you move in with mom and dad, are you going to be thriving?
That depends on how long. Like, I'm pretty adaptable, to be honest, and I think the reason they want me there is they call me their private nurse because I am in a medical field, and so I have been there for everything that they've had to do that they needed help with their surgeries and whatnot. There are some things I couldn't be there for.
If you move there, is your husband thriving? Is your marriage thriving?
Oh no, it'd be a split.
Yeah. As caregivers, I want you to be empowered to say, that sounds like a really interesting idea, Mom and Dad. That is not going to work for me. Yeah.
But so, just when my mother passed away, my brother was, you need to move in with Dad. My brother lived in Florida, I lived in Boston. And you'll just, this is what you have to do. But my mother's deathbed wish was that my brother would take care of my father.
Yeah.
And so I just fast forward. That was the beginning of the end of a marriage for me. So, because there's a lot of that when, and you're living in that thing. And I'm not saying this would happen, but I it's not my story to keep going on. But I lived that, and that's a really big thought.
Yeah. It is a big thought to think about. And being empowered to say, Mom and Dad, my relationship with my husband, my children, my community is really important for me. And recognizing, and this sounds really morbid, recognizing that your parents are 98, 90, 91, how many more years do they have left? But you have 30, praise God, 30, let's pray to God, 30 more years with your spouse, relationship, this thing. So really prioritize the relationships that are going to sustain you as well. Because I think we're quick to sacrifice those relationships or those communities that we have. And it's okay to say, I hear that you want me to come and live with you. I hear that you want me to support you. I can't do that. Here's what I'm willing to do. I'm willing to help you access an aging life care professional. SIBs aren't going to step up, so I'm going to help you get connected to an aging life care professional who's going to be your eyes and ears, your driving your care plan, because there are ways you can outsource caregiving in a way that helps you have peace of mind and feel confident in what their experience is as they're aging, but helps you preserve some of the quality of life that is important for you. Does that make sense? Yeah.
So how do I access that?
An aging life care person? Yes, I will tell you. I will tell you. There are geriatric case managers. There's a fantastic website called aginglifecare.org, so it's a nonprofit organization. They do charge a fee, but for long distance caregivers, they are gold. Gold.
Something to just talk about. I don't even know where it is. Just a real quick. I watched this with my great grandmother, my grandmother, and then my mom, her siblings with my grandmother. That 30 years that you think you have left, it declines. I mean,
Yeah.
It's degrading because you're doing all of that
Mm-hmm.
and your normal work life,
Yeah.
and you start aging.
Yeah.
I watched it in my grandma.
Yeah.
With my great grandmother, and it wasn't even just like I want all this agency and all that. It was just the way it was that
Mm-hmm.
generation.
Yeah.
Daughter takes care of mother, and I watched this.
Mm-hmm.
We moved my mom out here to Austin. She lasted 4 months, not dead, not gone. She's with us. Her whatever was enticing her to go back to California,
Mm-hmm.
Kaiser, it's a whole unit system.
Mm-hmm.
Even though she has federal medical, she has her siblings out there. She's been out there for 2.5 years since she moved in with us. She went back out. It's been 2.5 years on those. Hasn't seen her brother because of politics and
Yeah.
whatever. So she's gonna come back. We know that. It's when, it's not if. And it's after something happens to this guy that she's
Mhm.
been dating for years.
Yeah.
But it's hard because it ages you
That's,
when you're the sole
Yeah.
provider. So
Yeah.
I'm looking at Thrive and Navigate, and what you were pointing at. Are you going to thrive if you make that decision? How are you going to navigate life from that point forward?
Yeah.
Because those things are just like right in my face.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
It's hard.
And I hear from a lot of adult children caring for parents who have exhausted their financial resources. But if you're my age, I'm 53, and 10 more years of working life, if I've spent all of my resources jet setting back and forth across the country to be a long distance caregiver, and now I'm retiring and have no backup, you're not in a good spot. So thinking long term, it sounds kind of scary, but you have to think about those things too as you're making your plans. Yeah. You have the microphone. Who are you? Tell me a little bit about yourself and what's going on with you.
I'm Geraldine.
Geraldine.
I'm the daughter in denial. But I take care of everything because I'm a MA in a previous life. So, of course, anything medical, they could come to my way.
Yeah.
And, I just take care of them. And my dad is legally deaf. He's legally blind. But he still, at 81, still wants to get out and wash the truck and rake leaves and, saw trees. And I'm just like, my gosh. And he lives on 14 acres. So it's 2 acres to the next neighbor. And he's just, diehard cowboy.
Yeah.
He's worked the land all his life. He's going to live and die there.
Yeah.
They want me to move in to take care of him, and I'm like, well, that, I don't know about that. I mean, we have some differences. That would be really interesting.
Yeah.
Just in the 4 days or 8 days I stayed there, it gets really interesting. And then the technology thing, they got scammed, so fortunately nothing came of it. But now anything technology related is demon.
Yeah.
Just don't even talk to me about it.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I probably shouldn't say this for the world, but I mean, like, there's cash around the house. There's,
Yeah.
Different things hidden here, there.
It
and
feels
everywhere.
risky. Yeah.
And they're telling me all of this stuff, about, well, it's going to happen, just accept it. And I'm like, no, I'm in denial.
Geraldine, where in the area do your parents live?
They live close between Seguin and New Braunfels.
Okay, so rural-ish. 'Cause, they're on 14 acres. They're a little bit rural, but they actually do have access in terms of there's resources in Seguin, and but driving is a challenge.
My mom drives every now and then, but that gets pretty dicey.
Mm-hmm.
If it's to town,
Yeah.
Marion or back home, we're okay. But put her in a city, no, absolutely not.
Yeah.
And so there comes me doing all the driving. And as strange as it sounds, my dad's, he's actually my stepdad, so his ex-wife, the brother of his two kids, is the one who takes them around a lot of the time.
Yeah.
So otherwise they let everything collect.
Yeah.
And when I'm in there those 4 to 8 days,
It's a huge burden. Everything has to happen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I come in and my dad has made a list of everything, as he thinks of it.
Yeah.
To go over.
You need a honeydew person.
Yes.
You need a honeydew person to be there for them so that you don't have to be there and be a honeydew person. That's one of the biggest challenges. They will or will not. They will not accept help.
We're independent. That's for old people. We're not going to do it.
Yeah. Sometimes it can be helpful to say, "Hey, I got you a present. Marsha's going to come on Monday to take care of these things, or John's going to come on Tuesday. I can't be there, and you were telling me, Dad, about this list. I can't be there, but I got you a gift. John's going to come. John the handyman is going to come and do all this." And just see. You think John would get shot? John would get shot.
There is a handyman who comes around.
Yeah.
I mean, I walked into the living room and the ceiling fan was hanging down by the wire.
Yeah, scary.
And I'm like, did y'all realize that? And so we went to Lowe's to get the ceiling fan and a new new washing machine because that had died too.
Yeah. One of the things, because I know we're out of time. The hardest part about being a caregiver is watching our persons fail. Being independent. I want to be independent. I can do this. And so you have to let them fail before they get help. The executive director of our nonprofit is a caregiver for a dear person in her life who has a hoarding disorder, lives in a RV trailer. It is completely infested with everything, and he will not accept help. So he's failing. So the next step is she has had to make a report to APS. So now APS is stepping in. He has agency. This is how APS works. He has agency. And so he says, "I don't want your help." And they go, "Okay." And so she goes back and visits, and nothing's changed. She files a new APS report. She loves this person dearly. He has been a crucial part of her life since she was itty bitty. He will not accept the help. She has had to let him fail. At some point, APS is going to go in there because he's fallen and he can't get up, or he's gotten an illness, and she has come to the realization that she has to let that happen. And it is heartbreaking. Heartbreaking. As a hospital chaplain, hospice chaplain, I have such respect for what hospice does. I had that situation in my life as a pastor where a family had hoarding disorder, terminal chronic disease. The situation was incredible. APS, APS, APS. And finally, we got hospice to go in, and hospice was so amazing. So amazing. But they were at this point where they could qualify for hospice because she wasn't able to do at least 2 activities of daily living, right? She couldn't get to the bathroom. She couldn't feed herself. So hospice was able to go in, and that team was so good at navigating that conversation. And really, the help that they gave was being present without judgment through that end. We as caregivers strive, that's why when I strive, we strive to be the best caregivers we can so that our people can thrive. That's not going to work all the time. And so we have to be able to give ourselves grace in that experience to say, you know what I did? I did what I could at the time with what resources I had and what they were willing to accept, and then I stayed present. Yeah, that's really hard. Do I have the last one? James?
My mom sold her house when my dad was depressed, and my mom couldn't take care of the yard anymore, and what have you. And so my mom sold her house, sold the house I grew up in, and moved to a retirement community. And she found a place in the Overture, and she's 85 years. She's 85. Still drives perfectly. Goes to church. Goes to gym. Works out. It plays bingo. And so we moved in to help out. But I help her walk her dog. But she does her own thing. I don't have to worry about take your meds, do this, you do that. She does everything by herself.
That's great.
She'll do things just because the apartment, because the maintenance men are so busy. She does it herself.
Yeah. Well, it sounds like she's making a good life for herself now. She's living her best life for 80 something.
And I worry because my dad died 4 years ago, and and then my brother died too. Just me and her.
Yeah.
And I get up at night in the morning, and I go, okay, she can get up? Is she gonna wake up? Is she coming out of her room? I worry about that too, because I don't want to lose my mom, but I know that time is coming.
Yeah.
I just worry, is it when?
Yeah.
When is it gonna?
Yeah.
When
is it gonna happen?
Yeah. And like I said, she's 80. She's 88. She's 85 years old.
Yeah.
And I know she's not living with my dad.
What was your name?
I'm James.
James, I'm thinking about 2 things that I want to say to you. First of all, amazing that your mom is living this great life and she's so active and doing all these things. And so every day, that moment of gratitude for you to say, wow, Mom, you had a great day. That's fantastic. I want you to celebrate that for her and celebrate that for you, because for you, what it reflects on to you is that she's thriving, she's vibrant, and it's great. You've had so much grief in your life in the last few years with the passing of your dad and your brother, and I feel that anxiety about that expectant grief that's coming down the road.
Yeah, and I know it's coming.
Yeah.
But the thing is, when?
Yeah. Yeah.
And I got friends I call like that.
Yeah.
But it's
yeah.
It's hard. It's good.
It's gonna be hard.
It's gonna be hard. Yeah.
Yeah. It's gonna be hard.
I'm expecting that.
Yeah. One of the things about this season of Lent that I really appreciate is it's that kind of that time when we're facing mortality and death. A number of years ago in Christian Century magazine, there was an article by a guy he was a pastor talking about an app called WeCroak. And he signed up for this app, and every random few hours you'd get this bing, remember, you're gonna die. Bing, remember. And you know that idea of we come from the dirt and we're going to return, right? When we do Ash Wednesday, I know that in the Episcopal Church you do Ash Wednesday too. It's gonna happen. And so how do we live in this moment being grateful for this day that the Lord has made and move into our life, into the next moment? It's a moment by moment. And so that as caregivers, when I facilitate a caregiving support group, which is kind of what we did today, I guess, I ask, where's your moment of joy in this week or this day? I want us to think about, as caregivers, as adult children caring for parents, as friends caring for neighbors, where is that moment of joy today? Because it's hard to live in that anxiety of the future what ifs and when is it going to happen. So, yeah. But your experience, James, in the last few years, having those experiences of grief brings it to mind.
Yes.
Yeah, absolutely. And the season brings it to mind. Thank you all for your time and attention. I didn't tell you about the age resources other than just putting that slide up there and giving you a little bit about what we do. But I do want to share with you just a little bit here. I've taken too much of your time. We do have those programs and resources. Almost everything we do is free. And what's important is that we love to support people. So reach out to us if you need anything, if you want to just talk about, how do I do this aging life care thing? What is geriatric care planning? How can I access resources? If my mom or dad is not financially able, what do we do? How does Medicaid work? All of that stuff. We have the skills to help you with that. There is a really great conference happening next Saturday that's free called GPS Navigation for Caregivers. Breakfast, lunch, great speakers. It's a great program. It's at Riverbend Church. It's a lovely day, so you definitely can come to that. Yeah.
Our church is
yes, you are. Yes, to a parish.
Next Saturday in the Woodlands.
And they're going to be streaming it, and you all are going to be there, or you all are going there in person.
Most of us are going.
Yeah, because you're all the leaders. You're all the leaders.
Will there be another time?
That's a great question.
So we offer a couple big conferences every year. In August, we do a big conference in conjunction with the Area Agency on Aging. For those of you who are caring from a distance, every county in the country has an Area Agency on Aging, and they are a great resource. So you can Google that if you need connections, if you want to find out if there's adult day health centers in Westlaco. Yeah, they are in the valley. That kind of stuff. You can call the Area Agency on Aging, and they even do care coordination, which is amazing. So, but we do put on a big conference with them every year. This year, we're hoping to do even a little bit bigger conference. So we're in the planning stages of that. I will get that. Yeah. Something that I've been dreaming about, I'm part of the Aging Services Council, which is a collaborative group of entities that work to support older adults and aging services here in Central Texas. I'm dreaming of that for churches. I would love to put together a faith community version of Aging Services Council. I think churches are poised to provide really great care for people as they're aging and caregiving. But there's also a lot of collective wisdom in faith communities right now. If we could just share that across the table, we don't need to reinvent the wheel. We can collaborate together. And so if your health ministries team is interested in being a part of that, as I get that off the ground, I would love for you to stay connected. Some of the things really quickly, we have a dignity drive. We share incontinence items with people, and this is a big event that I'd love to have you all join, and I think we talked about it. So gonna do that. So yeah, please come up and talk to me about any of these things in May. Dignity drive, incontinence items to help people be able to be out and involved in the community. Yeah. So I apologize that this isn't what you were expecting.
This was conversation.
And thank you for being patient with me with your time. Yeah. Yeah. I could come again. Yeah, we can come again.
We had like one more story for you that was not even having to be part of this. What? We went down the last time we were down there. Her mom fell. Well, the first time she fell, it was our fault, she said, because we disrupted her routine,
Yeah.
right? But the second time she fell, I had already left the house to go do something, and she was on the ground for 2 hours. With Sherry standing over. No, we're done.
It sounds
Jack
like,
Riding
hold on,
probably
like,
turned it off.
what are you gonna do? What are you gonna
Sherry's
do?
standing over saying, "Get up. You think you can do this on your own?"
I never
Get up."
said that.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I'm paraphrasing, of course, but
What are you gonna do? You don't have your phone with you. Your neighbors will come check on you at 8 p.m. If they